All right. Will, nice to see you. What's been your biggest focus in the period you've had to digest what's happened before the break to take forward now?
How we turn draws into wins, and how we give ourselves a bit of confidence, but also the opportunities to turn these points into threes. And we need to believe in ourselves a bit more and have a bit more confidence in what we're doing, and not just feel sorry for ourselves when things don't quite go the way we want them to go, and just keep working. You don't turn a season of so many losses into something brilliant and beautiful overnight or within the space of sort of 1 or 2 months. And the longer that you're in a building, you kind of realise how much work and how much things there are to change, and that's just where we're at. But I think we've got a clear goal, we've got a clear objective for the coming month or the next international break, and we're just going to work to pick up as many points as we can before the next break. We've got a good run of games to come, and we've just got to keep believing in it, keep working, correct the things that aren't working well or well enough, but not look for excuses and feel sorry for ourselves and think, oh, this is difficult or whatever. Yeah, it's the Championship, it's always going to be difficult, so we've just got to get on with it.
So much of our focus talking away from the squad in the media and everything has been about who's playing up front and who's doing that, who's going to score the goals, and yet I imagine you're just as concerned about the balance, getting that balance right to keep more clean sheets and the back, because you talked about balance a few weeks ago, finding it, because that will help you. Obviously you're not conceding, you've got more chance of winning.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Ross goes out for a substantial period. I think we won't see him on the pitches before sort of New Year, which is a big blow. And
is that purely a hamstring, by the way, or is there something else to it?
Yeah, linked to his tendon as well, which is it's not the best news. I think we have looked really positive and really good with Roscoe up there in the last few games. So we're going to have to rethink, reshape, reorganise and find new ways of doing that. But like you said, going the other way, we're still conceding too many sort of easy and cheap goals, and we've got to take that element out of it as well. But it's just down to determination and pure desire and will of this ball is not going in that net and this ball is going in the other one. And it sounds very basic and a bit sort of poetic, but football's not rocket science all the time. And it starts off with that kind of energy and belief and desire to get things right.
You talked about a good run of games, and we're all thinking that, I think, between now and the next international break, an opportunity to get some points. How much pressure does that bring with it, or doesn't it? Are you feeling any pressure to up the points tally soon, rather than being able to keep saying, it takes time? There's an immediacy about the Championship, isn't there?
Yeah, you have to win games, but you've got to win games in any game in any job, in any world, in any game of football. And like I said, there's no one more frustrated of drawing 5 games and only winning 2 and losing 2 than me. So I just want to get on with it.
Well, you go into this week with 3 games in a week again, aren't you?
Yeah.
There'll be no time for feeling sorry for yourselves.
No, exactly. But we also have to hit the ground or hit the ground at St Mary's on the right foot and start strong and build up a bit of belief and a bit of confidence that we are actually a good football team, that we can do things, and not that as soon as something goes wrong that there's this sort of sense of panic or urgency to do something differently. It's just, can we relax, can we be ourselves, and can we do the things in the right way, and we know that it hasn't all gone to plan so far, but you won't find anyone more annoyed or frustrated than me.
It's a difficult balance of expectation, isn't it? Because at one end you've got supporters and everybody expecting you to win because you're Southampton, you were in the Premier League last year. On the other hand, you've got a whole new squad and a new manager coming in to do things differently. And then maybe somewhere in the middle is the answer. But I was speaking to Cameron Jerome, the former striker at Derby. When I said you're under a bit of pressure from some fans will be wanting more wins, he said that's ridiculous, it's not enough time, you've had a lot of change. Nice of a former pro to say it, but do you feel that? Do you feel you need more time because you've had so much upheaval? What's a fair judgment in time? New Year? I don't know.
I don't know. I think I'll leave that to the universe, to the world to decide whatever time it is. But I think if we're being like brutally honest, last season was poor and really poor, and the club, the players lost a lot of games, and a lot of those moments were quite difficult, and there were changes made that didn't always make a difference, and probably made things even more difficult because you've then got to change again, and then I've come in with a new staff. A lot of new players have come in, but you're still left with quite a lot of players that were here last year as well. So you're kind of managing their psychological and mental sort of status, feeding in new players, and then the fact that everyone just thinks that because you come down from the Premier League, you're a better team than everyone else. But there are a lot of really good teams in the Championship, and we've kind of found that out in these first 9 to 10 games, and whoever thought we were just going to walk the league and it'd be really easy, I think we've had the reality check now of that's not the case, and we've actually got to put a shift in and, like I said, stop feeling sorry for ourselves and get on with it. Is it the simplest thing to do? No, and people wanted big changes and big important decisions made, and we've made a few, but again, you don't change a whole back line and a keeper and a forward line and a midfielder and just expect it to work. I think that's just where football is, and I think that's where we are as a. I've said this loads, but it's where we are as a squad and as a team and as a club. But we're not a million miles off where we want to be either. We won before last game and drew the last game, which was annoying because we probably should have picked up 3 points as well, but you could say that about a few of the draws that we've had. Are we playing, free-flowing and attractive football that every single social media expert would want to play in the world? No, but you look at, 95% of the team in the world, a supporter's only ever going to be happy when he's winning games, and I'm the same. I was a supporter, I still am a supporter. I'm only happy when the team's winning and we're not, so...
You talked about big changes. Well, you've also made some yourself in the last few weeks, quite brave ones. You're dropping your biggest summer signings and changing the team around and doing things like that. You're putting your neck on the line a little bit. How do you? This is my biggest conundrum when I'm talking about the team. Is how do you get the best out of your best attacking talent? How is that the biggest conundrum for you? Getting the best out of Azaz and Fellows and Archer and Armstrong and everything.
That's our job, yeah. But there also needs to be a realisation of. Yes, we have a very big squad of players. Yes, there is a very high level of competition. But for the moment, the players that are coming into the team and that are starting are kind of feeling a pressure of, I can't make a mistake, and I can't do this, and I can't do anything wrong, because if I do, well, then I might be out the team again. And it's like, well, that's not the case. Like, if you're in the team, it's because you deserve to be in the team, so just play and free yourself off. But for the moment, it's, can we free the shackles, or get rid of the shackles and just play and enjoy playing? But we're not quite there yet. So we're still working on that. The size of the squad is what it is. Doesn't help, because, like I said, every week you've got to leave 5 or 6 of them at home, and they come and ask you why, and it's like, sometimes it's tough. The tough reality of football. But yeah, our job is to make players better. Our job is to make the team better. And it's taken more time than I would have hoped, and probably all the supporters would have hoped. I'm fully aware of that. But there's only one way of changing that, is by keeping at it.
Just finally from me, if I can, one of the positions I've been interested in finding solutions to from the sidelines, and not having to do it like you, just for fun, is what you've been doing with right wing backs. You've played Brian there, you've played Tom there, and then you've had 2 Danes who haven't been getting on the pitch, who you brought in this summer, who are right wing backs potentially, or left wing backs or left backs. Can you talk me through that sort of decisions of why Yellert, having done well at Liverpool, for example, isn't seeing much game time, or why Mads Roeslav isn't seeing much game time?
Yeah, I think Mads played the game that we lost at Hull, and I think we struggled defensively, as a unit, not just individually. And then you make changes, you make decisions. I think Ellie, Yellowt is probably the one that deserves a better chance than he's had, because he did do well at Liverpool. But again, the second goal we concede, happens down that side. And then we, tweaked it a bit, got Tom down there and Wee Man, just to have a different sort of outlet, playing a more of a winger in that position and a more defensive player with Rhino on the other side, and trying on balancing it that way, which has, worked at Sheffield. It was okay, I thought, at Derby. We've just conceded a pretty poor goal. So yeah, that's the thinking behind it.